Hello and welcome to another episode of Who Knew in the Moment, the podcast. I'm your host, Phil Friedrich, and today I am honored to have Van Deeb with me. Van is an author, a speaker, serial entrepreneur, and real estate guru. And one of the things that stood out in his story to me is a quote that he likes to live by, and I'll read it to you. And that is, "There is nothing I can't do with the proper mindset, drive, and determination." And so I think as we talk today, you're going to hear that throughout his story, that it's not always just based on like the skill we're given, right? It's a lot about how we harness those skills and those traits. So Van, thanks so much for being on today.
Bill, I'm very honored to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah. Well, I want to start with your story. Back in the second grade, you were given a task of maybe selling some tickets. So talk a little bit about that and, maybe the sales skills of a youngster.
Oh my gosh. Phil, I come from a family of teachers and preachers.
Yeah.
And really nobody in my immediate family in business or in sales, all teachers and preachers. And so I think my sales career started, like you said, in second grade. I went to Mount View Elementary School in Omaha, Nebraska, and they had a carnival. And in order to be the king of the carnival, you had to sell the most carnival tickets. So I was very creative. I didn't know what I was doing, but I would go knock on doors to try to sell carnival tickets. And we had so much time to do it. And I found out some of these guys were selling more than me. And I'm like, I want to be the king. So I was literally knocking on doors telling people, if you don't buy a carnival ticket, my mom and dad won't let me come home. And of course, my parents were the most wonderful human beings in the world. They would never say that. And so I ended up selling the most, and I got to be king of the carnival.
I love
There
it.
you go.
I love it. So, as you think about that, now, it's easy to reflect on, but, that's a tough thing as a youngster to do. I mean, it's tough when you get older too, right? It's getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, knocking on a door, I mean, all asking someone to do something or to help, right? So talk a little bit about, for people that are listening today, getting out of your comfort zone, being willing to do the things that are maybe uncharacteristic or abnormal to get a result that you're really driving for.
Yeah, I think what you have to ask yourself in anything in life is, how bad do you want it? Do you want to be really good at it? Do you want to be average? I would hope most people would say, I don't want to be average at anything. My life is precious. Every second counts.
Yeah.
So I really believe that everybody has this ability. We have the ability to be great, or we have the ability not to utilize our God-given talents. And I just believe I was not forced into it, but I went to Dallas, Texas, where I knew nobody after my college days were over. And I got on a straight commission selling real estate. Matter of fact, this is my 40th year celebrating selling real estate. And it's hard for me to say that because I still feel like some punk. I think this adult thing is highly overrated. If I could be my age and still act like a kid, which I pretty much do, that would be my favorite thing to do. But I was in a big city of Dallas, and when you get your real estate license, I waited tables to feed myself because I had nobody to call, family or anybody. I was spoiled with love and attention, but we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And so I waited tables to put myself through real estate school. And then after you get your license, they say, okay, now you call everybody you know and tell them you're in sales.
Yeah.
Well, that took about 1 minute because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to learn how to cold call. So I did all these things to brand myself when branding wasn't a thing. Nobody was saying, this is how you brand yourself. Yeah. But I have lived my whole life based on two words: common sense. Common sense is, I'm in sales. What do I have to do to be successful? Tell people, call people, see people. But you have to have maximum exposure if you want to be good. So I did everything in my absolute God-given power to let people know I'm in real estate. So I didn't have all the luxuries of doing it in Omaha, Nebraska, where I was brought up and I could call my high school buddies, my college buddies, my family, my friends. I had to start from scratch, and I think that is a great a great lesson. I think that if you can dig deep inside, get out of your comfort zone, like you said, and drive, desire, determination will take you to heights that you can't even imagine.
I love it. Now, before we get into another story about Dallas, I want to go back to being in Omaha and getting into college. So you decide, hey, I'm in Omaha, I'm going to go to UNO, and I want to play football there. And, a person that's driven like yourself, you just assume, man, I bet this guy was a rock star. And you were, but somebody told you, I don't know if you're cut out for the football team here. So talk a little bit about, showing up, getting told that, and then being like, all right, well, now it's go time.
Boy, Phil, you're bringing up some memories. I'll tell you. So you know what? I was the kid that made everybody laugh. All my close friends, the majority of them were all state this, all state that, and I was all nothing. I was on the football team, but I only got to play if the score was 70-0. And so maybe a couple games at 65-0. But anyway, I told my high school coach, I said, I want to go out and play college football. And he didn't laugh, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And then I talked to my JV coach, who I really liked. I just said, hey, I'm going to go out for college football. And he said, you can do anything you want to do. And I want to tell you the impact.
Wow.
Words are impactful to people that you want to empower. Your words are everything. They can enhance you or they can cut you. Words are very important. Anyway, I decided I'm going to give it my best shot. So I started lifting weights, running the stairs, the stadium stairs, doing all these things I've never done before. I went out for college at UNO. I kept working out. And I want to tell you something. My second year, I was starting ahead of guys that were all state my senior year in high school. So it did something to me.
Yeah.
It told me that we are capable of doing anything. And that set the precedent for my career. Now, I didn't tell you I was starting junior varsity.
Yeah.
So that's, it wasn't varsity, but I was a sophomore. It was a big deal to me. But I still wasn't that great. But I worked my tail off to be good, So, yeah. So that's a big milestone in my life because I've used that scenario. Everything we do is motivation. Yeah. We don't realize it. Getting out of bed, washing our face, shaving, everything we do, we've got to be motivated for, not just to go out and get the big sale or provide for our family. We have to be motivated. Well, that particular time of my life motivated me to say, if I put my mind to something, there's nothing you can't do.
I love it. Now, the thing that really stands out to me as you say that, though, is yeah, there were people that maybe up to that point had received more accolades or more recognition for their football skills, but that didn't deter you from saying, well, I could work harder and still catch them, right? I think oftentimes we look at people that are ahead of us and we say, oh, I don't know if I could ever get to where they're at, instead of having the mindset of, well, if I just work harder, I bet I could catch them. And, your coach saying you could do it was a huge motivator for you. So talk a little bit about just putting in that extra effort, even if we're behind, right? At some point in our lives, we can always catch up and even surpass.
And that's a great question, Phil. Thank you. I want to tell you something. Remember this. God created all of us equal. Nobody's better than anybody. If somebody's more accomplished than the next person, it's because they made a choice to be. Now, don't get me wrong. Not all of us can say, hey, I'm going to be just as good as Michael Jordan. I'm going to be just as good as Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. There's some natural talent there that, you might spend your lifetime trying to even compete in their shadow.
Yes.
But on a general basis, I believe that we're all created equal and we all have this ability deep inside of this. And we have to understand something, Phil. We have to understand that we don't have to be great at anything to get started, but we just have to get started to be great. And we will. I mean, every newsletter I write, and I write one a month. I don't like bombarding people. And so I write newsletters that are I talk about my experiences. They're very short, but I close every newsletter at the end by saying, if not now, when? And if not me, then who? And we've got to tell ourselves that every day. You know, I get up in the morning and I have a choice. I can get up in the morning and make a decision. Everything we do is a decision. The two of us have made a decision to talk to each other today.
Yeah.
Everything's based on a decision. So I can make a decision saying, you know what? I'm going to go to work today. I'm going to be average. And that's all. I'm not going to empower, impress, inspire anybody. Going to come home to my significant other and say, hey, honey, I went to work today and I was average and I did nothing special. Never used any of my talents. Who wants that? No one benefits.
Yeah.
Make the choice to wake up and say, today I'm going to inspire somebody. Today I'm going to do something productive. Today I'm going to better myself. I'm going to learn something new. I want everybody around me to enjoy being in my company. I want to leave people better than I found them. These are choices, Phil, and all of us can make this decision and do it. I just gave a big presentation this morning, and that's what we talked about, personal development. I don't care how bad you want to be the best in sales. I don't care if you want to be number one in your company. If you don't concentrate on your own personal development, none of the tools your company is going to give you is going to matter.
Yep.
You've got to be right with inside your heart and inside your mind. And you've got to say, I want to make a difference. And once you have that mindset, you know, we can do anything. There's really nothing we can't do.
I love it. Yes. So to use that part and kind of parlay us back into moving down to Dallas. So we finished up our time at University of Nebraska-Omaha. We moved down to Dallas for some real estate school. And as you're finishing up, you notice that there's this big time builder and you would like to go work for the builder. And I would love to say that they were just eager to hire you, but there was a phone call and then maybe a 3-hour wait in the lobby. So talk a little bit about getting hired on there.
Phil, I could talk to you every day. You're bringing out a lot of great memories and making me excited. So I'm just going to start from the beginning, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so I'm in Dallas and I'm waiting tables and I'm also laying sod, just trying to make money to survive. I ran into a guy from my high school in Omaha, Nebraska, a couple of years older than me. We didn't know each other great, but I knew who he was. He's driving this really cool car, and I'm driving one of the biggest piece of junks I'm surprised I got from Omaha to Dallas. And so, of course, I'm a young punk. I had to say, wow, that's a cool car. What do you do for a living? He goes, I sell real estate. And I said, I want to sell real estate.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started thinking about it. And to sell for a builder, you did not need a license at the time because you're not broke in the brokerage.
Yeah.
And so I learned about some of these big companies. One was a company called Pulte Homes, Pulte. They're from Detroit, one of the largest home builders in the United States. They were all over Dallas-Fort Worth. So I called them up. I did a little bit of research. No internet back then, so doing research meant you went to the library, which I couldn't even spell, and my grades from college will prove that. I thought you're supposed to get a 0.04 GPA in college, and then someone told me, no, it's a 4.0. So I completely got that wrong. But anyway, so I learned that Pulte Homes had 4 area sales managers. So I called them up and I said, hey, can I make an appointment to visit with the 4 managers? And they said, no, we're not hiring, but you can send us your resume. And I said, okay, well, I didn't have a resume. I've never filled one out.
Yeah.
So I made up my own on a typewriter. Once again, no internet. I went to a consignment store, dipped into a quarter of my life savings, $75 it cost me to get a consignment. I bought a suit on consignment.
Yeah. A
suit and tie. I don't even know if it fit. So I said, I'm going to the Pulte Homes headquarters in Dallas-Fort Worth. So I went to Fort Worth, to the headquarters, went to the receptionist, and I said, hey, can I please visit with one of the 4 area managers? And she said, I'm sorry, you don't have an appointment and we're not hiring. I said, ma'am, all I want to do is just say hello. I just want to say hello to somebody and hand them my resume. And she looked at me like, okay, well, go have a seat in the lobby and I'll take your resume. And if somebody's available, I can't promise anything. So I'm out there for 3 hours, like you said, Phil. And I'm smiling at her. She probably think that I stopped at a bar on the way there because I'm a goofball. And so I'm smiling at her like, thank you. And finally a person leans around the corner, a tall, intimidating businesswoman, intimidating.
Yeah.
And she goes, are you Van Deeb? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And she goes like this. Now, I haven't seen that since all of my years in school when the principal would do this. Just about every grade I was in, get to my office.
Yeah.
I felt that way. I'm like, oh, was I in trouble? Anyway, so she walked me back to her office. I'm sitting in her chair, a little nervous. My resume, and she started giggling. And that's the part where it said sales experience. I had none. So what do you think I put on there? King of the Carnival at Mountain View Elementary School in second grade. She's giggling, and I'm like, uh-oh, I don't know if people are supposed to giggle when they're reading your resume. So she looked at me, and she goes, Van, your only sales experience is you were King of the Carnival in second grade? And I go, yes, ma'am. I sold more carnival tickets than anybody. That's right. I can prove that. And she goes, okay. So then she's done reading it, and she looks at me. She goes, what makes you think you can sell real estate? And I don't know where this came from. I'm pretty sure it was from a divine power. The good Lord was watching over me. And I just looked at her and I said, Miss King, her name is Emma King. I'll never forget her. I love her. I said, Miss King, if I'm not your number one salesman in 3 months, I'll quit, or you can fire me. And I mean, it was like, she backed up in her chair and was like, really think so, huh? And I said, I can do anything. Just give me the task and I'll do it. And I love people. So she said, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, whatever you tell me to do. She goes, I want you to go out to the model homes over in Garland, Texas, the suburb of Dallas.
Yeah.
I want you to go out there, and we have 4 model homes. There's 2 salespeople, Jane and Bernard. I want you to stand at the front door and greet people. When they walk in, say, hi, my name is Van Deeb. Welcome to Pulte Homes. This is Jane. Hi, I'm Van Deeb. This is Bernard. So I'd introduce them. If Jane and Bernard give me a good report, then we'll visit again. Well, Monday morning, Jane and Bernard, she calls them, and we became bros and friends within like seconds. So gave me a good report. She called me and she hired me. And that's the story.
Yeah.
And, I worked my tail off, and I wasn't number one in 3 months. I didn't quit. She didn't fire me, but I eventually was my second year.
So what I want to highlight there is there's an element of confidence that one should have, needs to have successes in certain parts of life. But then there's the backing up of doing what you said you were going to do, right? We'll get to this part of the story when you start hiring people to work for you. So you've interviewed a bunch of people, and you know that a lot of people can talk the talk, but then when you say, well, here's what you need to do, they don't do that, right? And you were... Right. We'll call it young enough, hungry enough, naive enough, whatever it is, to just do, hey, if this is what you're telling me to do and you think it's going to help me get there, I will go do that. So talk just about that willingness to do really whatever it takes to get to where you want to go.
Well, I'm a big fan of action speaks louder than words. I'm a big fan of, I learned this in Texas, don't be big hat, no cattle. Don't talk a big game. And so I'm going to pay attention to people that show me what they did, not tell me what they're going to do. Yeah. And being an employer with about 400 people, I'd have agents that would come in front of me and say, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do that, but I don't want to do any of this B, C, and D stuff. I don't want to do any of the dirty work, but I'm going to be the best realtor. And I always knew in my heart, if you're not willing to be in the trenches, if you're not willing to dig and to do the things that, are hard, you're going to have a more difficult time. And so I did see a lot of people that talked a big game, but they never performed. But it's not hard. We've got to have certain elements. And I say, if we have 2 things, besides common sense, if we practice 2 things, and that's it, basics and fundamentals. Basics and fundamentals are, you have to have goals, not just words, written goals. You got to read them every day. Don't make them too high that you can't reach them. Make them attainable, and then set them higher the next month or the next year. You got to have goals, and then you got to have a plan of action. You got to make a decision. I just know so many people that say they want to live an above average life, but they don't want to be an above average person. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got to be, if you want to live an above average life and reach the level of success that you've defined as success, success has nothing to do with money.
Yes.
Success is, I'm raising a happy family. I'm going on vacation twice a year. I'm buying a new wardrobe. I'm getting the car of my dreams. Now, a lot of us in sales, yeah, they're financial goals.
Yeah.
But in order to reach those, you've got to have a plan. And the plan is the 4-letter word, WORK. When you have a 4-letter word, WORK, instilled in you, no one can take that away. No one can compete with somebody that's got a better work ethic than they do. And that's where it all starts. It's work, it's work, it's work. And then you get to see the fruit that it bears. And I want to tell you something. The luckiest people I happen to know in the world happen to be the hardest workers.
Yep.
And I know I'm preaching to the choir because I know, Phil, you're the same way.
Yeah, I love that. So I got to ask this because I have a similar background of, my dad's side of the family was all pastors. My mom's in education. So I know when I got into the world of entrepreneurship and sales, my parents weren't overly thrilled. They, thought, how the heck are you even going to afford to live life, Phil? So for you, as you leave Omaha to go to Dallas, was that met with enthusiasm from, the family dynamic, or were they kind of like, man, what are you doing?
Their goal for me when I was younger was just don't die, because I was non-conforming, rebellious. I had loving parents, but I didn't have anybody to play catch with the football, or this is what you're going to be when you grow up. I was way younger than my siblings. That was what they call a mistake. And my mom and I were buddies. She was very strict with my other 4 siblings, but not with me, because I think I made her laugh where she really couldn't scold me. But I had no idea what I was doing. I just know that I wanted to go to another city, and I just wanted to go spread my wings. They thought we had a big send-off. My mom was crying. My car was loaded. I've never left town like that before. And they thought, he'll be back in a week. He'll be back in 2 weeks. 10 years is how long I was there. Yeah. But yeah, they didn't have big expectations for me. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just had this desire and this drive. And motivation is everything. Can I tell you what really motivated me? Can I go to this story from back when I was in high school? So I'm 1977. I'm in high school, and a movie came out called Rocky with Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa. So I go see this movie, and I left there on fire. I left there like I've never left anything before. Here's a guy that had a dream of being the heavyweight champ of the world. I mean, I used to buy sleeveless white tank tops just to look like him. I used to comb my hair like him. I never had his muscles, but I really wanted to be Rocky.
Yeah.
And he lived in a rat hole, broke, literally rats on his floor in his little 1-bedroom efficiency.
Yeah.
And he worked his tail off, worked, practice, ran, did all these things. And that's kind of what set me off to want to play college football, is I saw this guy do it. And then it gave me the mindset. But I always had that motivation. I wanted to be proud of myself. Probably back then, I was doing it also to try to impress people that never thought I would turn out to anything. Yeah. But then as I got older, I wanted to prove to myself, not to prove other people wrong. I wanted to prove myself right. And that's where I am today. I'm always, if I have something new that I want to shoot for, I'm doing it to prove myself right if nobody's watching.
I love that. Now, somebody listening right now is saying, I don't know where I can get to. I don't, I have maybe a limiting belief of what's possible for me. What would be a word of encouragement or, a thought process that they could have to really kind of lift those limits off of what they've placed them at and see, hey, if I really let myself dream of what's possible, where could I really go?
This is hands down. You've got to surround yourself around people with a similar mindset. You've got to surround yourself with people that want to get somewhere. Maybe it's not financial independence. Maybe they want to become a fireman. Maybe they want to do this. Maybe they want to. You've got to surround yourself around positive people. You just do. I made a decision in my young 20s to stay away from the negative people, the people that say you can't, the people that aren't driven. And that may be family members. But I'm telling you, you have to be willing to be lonely, because not a lot of people have that mindset. Not a lot of people think like you do. You know, they say, and I didn't make this up, this is out there, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. If you hang out with 4 people that complain all the time, 5 people that complain all the time, I don't care how positive you are, you're going to be the 6th. It's just going to happen to you. If you hang out with 6 people that are not, 5 people that are not respectful to people, that treat people poorly, you're going to take that on too and not even know it. Now, if you hang out with 5 people that are positive and they care about being a bright spot in other people's lives, you're going to be that person too. So I did that, and it was lonely because I'm a social guy. But when I got rid of the wrong people, it was lonely, but it was worth it. And I'm telling you, and like I say, it's not surrounding yourself around people that say, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire. That's fine. But it's around people that are positive. You know, maybe they don't have financial goals, but they're positive and empowering people. You've got to be around like-minded people. And then the second to that thing is you can't be afraid to ask for help. One of my favorite books I wrote is called The Power of Asking.
Yes.
If it wasn't for me asking for people for help, it wasn't like I was saying, can I borrow money? Can I borrow some flour? Can I pick me up? Can you pick me up at 3 a.m? You can't be afraid to say, hey, Phil, real estate is my passion. I have some big family goals. If you know anybody that would like to buy or sell a house, man alive, I can't tell you how much I'd appreciate if you referred me. And then don't stop there. When you're done, go get a note, a little handwritten note. Dear Phil, great talking with you today. I've enclosed a couple of my business cards. Please refer me whenever you possibly can, and please let me know how I can refer you.
Yeah.
Organic. If I were to do one thing every day to create more income, relationships, whatever, it'd be handwritten notes. You know why? Because nobody's doing it. Here's what they're doing. Pressing microphone. Hey, great to see you today at the store. If you know anybody that wants to buy any real estate, I sure appreciate it. Well, how much effort did that take me? 3 seconds? No. Handwritten note. Valuable. And that will never go out of style. Ever.
Nope. I agree. That is spot on. I love it. So as you mentioned, you're in Dallas, year 2, you become #1 in sales, and things are going well in Dallas, but you feel this tug to get back to Omaha. So as you're looking to make the transition back, you interview with a few of the different companies there, spend a little bit of time with one, and then decide, you know what, maybe maybe I'm supposed to do my own thing. So talk a little bit about, starting up your own practice and the early years and get going of that.
Thank you. Yes. So I moved back to Omaha for family reasons, shut down a pretty big operation that I worked my tail on for. I have no regrets because I love my family. Came back and I did something crazy. I sent Love Me books to all these brokers in Omaha. All the articles that were ever written about me, every newspaper clipping, every honor I've ever received. And I sent them to the brokers and I said, I'm moving to Omaha. And these guys were offering me relocation packages. You don't do that.
No.
For real estate agents.
Right.
You just don't, but they were going after me like crazy. So I picked one that gave me the best package. And I made a 6-month commitment with them. I said, that's all I'm making. And our philosophies were different. I loved them. I made some great friends with them, but I'm a straight commission salesman and I'm a realtor's realtor. And so I felt like the mindset with these brokers in Omaha were, I'm the broker and you're the salesman. We're going to tell you how to do your, da, da, da. Well, I was used to the opposite. Right. I'm the salesman and I'm keeping the lights on in this building. So you're there to support me. That's about it.
Yeah.
And so that was my mindset. So I said, I'm going to do my own thing, left really on a good relationship. I said, you know what? I've already been there and done that. I'm going to keep this baby small and just nurture my friends, family, college buddies, and knock it out of the park. Well, then the agents started seeing how I do business, and they were like, I want to be part of this. Before you know it, I got 10 agents. Now I can't work out of my basement anymore. Then I got 20, 30, 40, 100, 200, 300, 400. And all of a sudden, we're the largest independent real estate firm in the Midwest. And I want to tell you something. My motto was a company built by agents for agents.
Yeah.
I had a cubicle I did not want to be Johnny Big Shot. I could care less. I had a cubicle that I could barely fit my laptop on.
Yeah.
I was no different than anybody else. And so I wanted our agents to feel like they owned the company.
Yeah.
That there was not, I'm here and you're here. It was quite the opposite. And people loved that culture. And then I implemented all these things that nobody else was doing that benefited the agents. And people say that we completely changed the culture of how real estate sold in Omaha. I'm not saying that. All my peers in competition did. Phil, I'm comfortable saying this. We forced the other brokers in our city to treat their agents like they matter.
Yeah.
We just did, because if not, they were all going to join me.
Right.
Now, we could have had 1,000 before I sold the company, but we only accepted people that we knew were going to be good humans.
Yeah.
I did not want people that used foul language in the office. I did not want people that didn't treat people well. I wanted to build a family culture where people all cared about each other. And you know what? No one quit. Because of our philosophy, we weren't letting anybody and everybody come in. I don't care if they were the number one agent at the other company. You act like you're better than everybody else. You don't work here. And it worked out well. And then, can I tell the quick story about how?
Yeah, you're great.
So don't ever, anybody listening to Phil's podcast, don't ever underestimate the position you have, whether it's you're taking out the trash, you're the mail boy, mail girl, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I had a young man come to me in his young 20s and say, I want to sell real estate with you, but I can't afford straight commission. Do you have anything in the office I can do to make an income? I said, sure, I'll put you on answering phones. Put this nice young man on answering phones, came to work early, stayed late. I noticed that.
Yeah.
After a while, promoted him to assistant manager. Then I promoted him to manager and then general manager. And then I sold him the company. And he kept the name Deeb Realty for 6 years. All my staff is still there. And now it's called Nebraska Realty.
Yeah.
But it's all my peeps are still there. And I couldn't be prouder of him. But he deserved it. He earned it.
Yeah. Well, something I want to look at there, and this might be a practical takeaway for someone listening who's in the hiring business, right? They do, interviews and things like that, is you talked about, I wanted good people because I knew what the culture I was trying to build was. But what are some of the things that you would uniquely look for in the interviewing process? Because I think oftentimes what happens is people are like, they seem good enough, we'll hire them. And then, within a month or 2 months, it's like, oh, we made a bad hire. This is not the person that should be here. So talk a little bit about, your vetting process in the beginning to make sure you're bringing in people that fit what you were trying to drive.
Very, very, very good question. And so nowadays we have so many employers have crazy, crazy great advantages. And so do the potential hires. They have great advantages. So John Doe calls me up and wants to come and have an interview. First thing I'm doing, and you know what I'm going to say, going straight to social media.
Yep.
And I'm looking at his social media post. If it's a guy that's showing how many shots he did last weekend, which I'm not saying that's wrong if that's your world, but I don't want to deal with it. Yep. If you're using foul language, if you're profanity, if I see things that you don't respect women, you don't respect men, whatever it might be, I'm not your guy. And, I'll confront you about it because I'm not just going to be looking at it. The customers are going to be looking at it. Yep. And they're going to be vetting you that way as, just as well. But what I look for is respect. I've had people that have actually come in and interviewed and their phone will go off and they'll look down at it while they're talking to me to see. First of all, you don't take your phone into anything. You turn it off. You don't take it anywhere with you. It's disrespectful to even look at it. What you're saying is your time's not valuable to me. So I look for respect. How did you treat the front desk person? How's your initial, the dress that you're in? We're in a society today where real estate agents are taking people out to look at $500,000, $3 million homes in t-shirts and jeans.
Yep.
I mean, and it's the society's fault because we're accepting that. We're accepting our people to look that way. Now, that's not everybody, but I want somebody. Real estate we're helping people with the biggest investment of their life.
Yeah.
You've got to look the part. And so that's important to me, how somebody is in their appearance, cleanliness. And I want them to be a good listener. Things I look for, I want to hear, I work hard. I'm willing to do anything it takes to get to where it goes. I'll come to the training classes. So
yeah,
willingness, all those play a big, big role. But I tell you, I've ruled people out just by looking at their social media.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. So as you were mentioning, in 2009, you end up selling the company, and it is a large company still in Nebraska today and does great business. But one of the things that you decided you'd like to pursue is your desire to help people and help people grow was still there. So you're like, well, maybe I will do more of the speaking, and I want to write a book and maybe multiple books. So talk a little bit about the beginning of that business for you with the speaking and in the book business.
Thank you. So I wrote my first book in 1997.
Okay.
And my thing is I wanted to share with people, it always was, that you don't have to be born into it. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, and you can still accomplish anything you want in life. I was a nobody. I'm still just an average guy that decided, I made a decision that I wanted to be good at certain things. I wanted to be great at certain things. But yeah, so I wrote my first book, and now I've got 6 total. I wrote that in 1997. But so this is my 40th year in real estate, and it's my 25th year in motivational speaking. So when I sold the company, I thought, you know what? All I'm going to do now is just go travel the country and inspire, empower, and motivate people to be the best they can be. And I did that, but I missed real estate. So I retired from real estate for about 30 minutes. And then I actually came back to my old company, and I had them keep my license.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is too weird. It was just awkward going from owning the company to, asking permission to do something.
Yeah.
I wasn't good at that. So I ended up opening up my own with I didn't have a very long no compete. And I assured him I wasn't going to go hire anybody away. There was a lot of agents that said, can I join you from my old company? And I said, I'm not accepting people. I only have 2 people with me today. But I opened up a company called Big Omaha Realty 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But one of my main reasons, Phil, not just because of my love for real estate, I'm on the streets helping people buy and sell houses, but because it makes me a better speaker, because I'm relevant. So many high-powered speakers they start out by saying, 20 years ago when I was in sales.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to learn from somebody that's doing it now, not did it 20 years ago. So like I gave a big presentation today to a large financial service company. Well, I can talk to them about customers because I'm dealing with customers on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I'm in the best of both worlds. I'm doing what I love, real estate. I'm doing what I love, speaking, and they both complement each other very much.
Absolutely. Now, in the speaking world, there's so many people that would like to be in the speaking world, getting started. And once again, eerily similar to real estate, it's one of those things that once you get it up and running and you gain notoriety and, you have served people well, it can really start gaining momentum, but it can be tough to really, gain some traction in. So talk a little bit about getting started in the speaking environment.
What a great question. So that actually happens a lot to me where people call me and say, hey, can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? I want to become a speaker. And I'm like, I want to help everybody, but I'm not sitting around waiting for people to call me to take them to lunch. I mean, I'll consult with you. And when I tell them my fee, all of a sudden they don't want to take me to lunch and pick my brain because that's what I do for a living. I help people go from point A to point B, and I have to charge for that because that's my living. Just
Right.
like I wouldn't expect to go to a dentist and have them pull my tooth and not charge me.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm very humble and I try to help people, give them as much as I can. But I can't tell you, Phil, how many people have said to me, I want to be a speaker. And I said, great. One of the greatest industries on the planet. What have you done?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, like, are you in sales? Are you number one at your car dealership? Are you in real estate? Are you selling Bic pens? Are you selling Post-it notes? What have you done?
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't done anything yet. I go, well, don't you think that people will be more interested in hearing what you have to say if you've done something? Well, yeah. I said, go get a job of something you're passionate about. Give up 2 to 5 years of your life. Go be the absolute best at it. Not good, but the best. So you have a story. So people will pay attention to you. Now, there's all kinds of schools out there how to become a speaker. I'm not saying that somebody that's never done anything with no street cred can't go become a speaker. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
I'm just saying I wouldn't pay a dime to hear you.
Yeah.
I don't care what you've learned at speaker school. I want somebody that's been in the dirt like I have. I want to listen to somebody that's been there and done that. It's just like there's so many real estate brokers out there that have never sold a house.
Yeah.
Great that you know all the legal stuff, but I am not coming to you to ask you about a sales challenge because you've never been there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I got to tell you this, I just thought of this. It's a quick story. So I do coaching.
Yeah.
I do coaching. I'm in Arizona doing a big seminar. Gal comes up to me afterwards and says, hey, I want you to coach me. I want to be the best there is. I said, you're my kind of client? Bam, give me your number. Called her up the next day and her voicemail said, hi, this is Cindy. If it's between the hours of 8 and 5 and I don't answer, I'll call you back tomorrow, or something like I'll call you back tomorrow between 9 and 11. No, I'm sorry. If this is after 5, I'll call you back between 9 and 11 tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. So I'm giggling, and thankfully before the recording ended, I stopped giggling. But I said, hey, it's Van Deeb, met you yesterday, give me a call. So she calls me back the next day between 9 and 11. She said, yeah, I want to talk to you about coaching. I said, I totally misunderstood you yesterday.
Yeah.
She goes, what? I said, you had said to me that you wanted to be the best in the business. And I said, then I got your voicemail and I realized I might have the wrong number. Because I'm a smart ass. I mean, I can be that person. That's how I get a lot of my points across, is make people think.
Yeah.
And so I said to her, you're helping people with the biggest investment of their lives. They work usually 8 to 5, and you're telling people they can't talk to you after 5 at night. I go, where did you hear that? My broker. I go, well, let me ask you a question. Has your broker ever sold real estate? You know what? No, she hasn't. I said, but you're taking advice from her. Well, yeah. I said, no, she's going to be there to dot your I's and cross your T's. Do not take advice from her on how to be a great salesperson. Yeah. I said, in this industry, when people call you and say jump, your response is how high?
Yeah.
And I said, I would never do business with somebody that I've got to look at my calendar and say, oh, okay, I can call this person back now. It's not intimate. That says you're too big for your britches and you don't want any business. She was so grateful. And her new voicemail was like, hi, this is Cindy. I'll call you back as soon as possible. You're very important to me, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that we can be our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
We can be our biggest asset, but we can be our own biggest liability. Learn from people that have been there and done that, or at least understand it.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I want to circle around and highlight from what you said. And one is, a lot of people will say the right thing of, I want to be the best, or I'll do whatever it takes to be the best. And then to your point, you say, all right, well, this is my fee to do some consulting with you. And it's like, oh, never mind. It's like, well, there's no way that you possibly want to be the best if you're not willing to invest in the opportunity to learn, to get your skills to a whole new level for X amount of dollars.
It's crazy. I can't tell you how many people say, hey, I love your story. I want to open up this business. I don't care what the business is. The concepts are all the same on marketing and branding yourself as an expert. But when people, they always start out with, can I take you to coffee? Can I take you to lunch? And I'm that guy because I want to help people.
Yeah.
But when I would say, this is what I do for a living, is I help people grow their business. Matter of fact, if you do the instruction I give you and follow these steps, I'll guarantee my advice to you if you follow it. Well, how much do you charge? Well, I'll tell them my fee. Yeah, no, I'm not. I thought maybe I could just take you to lunch or buy you coffee. I said, but this is my business. I mean, how? And then I stop. If I got to explain that, you give me this little bit amount and you're going to make this gigantic amount, really? And here's the thing. When I consult with people, Phil, I don't go away after our 1 hour consultation. I'm there for them for the rest of their life. Yep. But we got to get started somewhere. But, it's amazing how many people want to get to where they want to go, but they either don't want to do the work or pay the price to get there.
Bingo. And, I don't know, I don't watch much TV, but when the documentary about the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance, came out, I had to watch it being a diehard basketball fan. And one of the best clips or favorite parts for me is when Michael Jordan is on there and guy breaks down into tears, the best to ever play the game. And he says, my biggest thing was I never asked someone to do something I wasn't willing to do myself. Ooh. And, and the thing that I love about what you were saying earlier is, if you want to be a person that has influence of others, give yourself a platform to be influential, right? So often we want to have influence, but we don't have a platform because we haven't done anything that gains us notoriety or separates us from others.
Phil, the next time you are speaking in an audience, I want to come listen because I love listening to you because you're hitting on everything. I mean, you're so smart about this. You're so right. And I happen to see the same documentary a couple of times. Yeah. I learned a lot from it. It actually inspired me. Yeah. And, but if we're not willing to do the work, then apparently it's not worth it to you. It's so rewarding to work your tail off at something you believe in and then see it bear fruit. Yeah. And then it's just going to build you up to want more and more and more. But work ethic is everything. Everything. Yes. So important.
Yes.
So we're on the same page.
I love it.
Let's go on the speaking tour together, Phil. Come on.
Hey, I'm here for it, brother. I'm here for it.
You're the good-looking young guy, and I'm the old guy.
Hey, good-looking old guy. You got it. Yeah. No, you're not even that old. Now, I want to make this, it was interesting to me when you're talking about Rocky, and, Rocky, one of the most important parts of his story is the dog butt kiss, right? And he gets a great friend out of the deal. And, Van, for you, your most recent book actually has to do with you, getting a new companion in life as well.
Buddy, I got to tell you something. And I gave him a bone just before we came on because I'm at my home today, not at my office. And I got a dog, 2-month-old Havanese, 10-pound dog. He's 10 pounds now. April 26, 2019. And I'm going to tell you something. I've never had a dog. I got a dog at 59 and a half. I am so over the top. I know what, like Forrest Gump says, I know what love is. I mean, I love humans, and yeah. But I love this dog. He is. My friends all are like, "What happened to you? What, you don't want to come out anymore. If you do come out, you only want to stay out an hour." This dog did something to me, and I tell you, it's therapy because I'm running high, man. I'm like, bam, bam, bam. Let's go. Let's make things happen. And he just does it for me. I can't wait to get home to see him. I wrote a book about him, my first dog at 59 and a half. I named him Baxter because my favorite movie is Anchorman. Will Ferrell's dog is Baxter. And I only like movies that are the opposite of intellectual. I like comedies and I like stupid and silly. So I'm the guy that likes Tommy Boy, Talladega Nights, Anchorman. I got a big thing on my wall that says, if you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. Right there.
I love it.
But anyway, no, I named him Baxter, but he is so I just recently hired somebody that's going to help me because I am passing up a lot of opportunities because I don't want to leave him. So now I got someone that's going to come help me during the day because I won't take him to a kennel. He gets scared around big dogs. And so now I can start meeting people for coffees more. I mean, since I've had him, Phil, if people want to have coffee, I'll say, here's my address. I'll meet you at my house.
Yeah.
And so thanks for bringing that up because that's a topic I could talk about for days.
Absolutely. Well, Van, I want to be respectful of your time. Are there any other moments that really stand out to you or anything else you'd like to make sure we highlight in our conversation today?
I just want to tell you something, and this isn't for everybody, but the power of prayer.
Yeah.
Not just for your own talent to bring out the best talent. You know, I pray to God every day, not for things. I pray for other people as often as I can, but I pray that God gives me the ability to bring out what he already put inside of me. I do that every day, 10 times a day, because I do believe that we all have the ability. And I feel like if we have the ability, we have the responsibility to be the best version of ourselves. People are hurting right now, Phil, and we need to be there for them. You know, they did a study in 1998 that 1 out of 8 people are suffering from depression or anxiety. They did the same study in February of 2022, and 1 out of 2 people.
Wow.
That means 1 out of 2 people you see need your love. They need you to make them feel like they matter. They need you to make them feel like they're important. So my goal, the rest of this time that God's going to let me stay on this earth, is I want to do the best I can to make people feel like they're important.
I love it. I love it. Well, Van, there is no doubt you are doing your mission, man. You're leaning into all the gifts, skills, and abilities you have. And so I want to thank you for just sharing your wisdom today, and can't wait to see all the amazing things you do. And we'll have to do this again in a year or two and see all the new things that have been going on.
Phil, I'm honored. I know the type of audience you have, and you're international, and just being on your show is it's a huge honor for me. I kind of got giddy knowing I was going to be on your show today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, my man.